And during this second day of special session hearings, some lawmakers were frustrated and confused, they say, about their experts' take on the governor's plan to eventually produce a gas line.
Governor Palin wants lawmakers to give TransCanada $500 million in incentives, obligating the Canadian pipeline company to seek the Fed's permission to build the pipeline. CBS 11's Matthew Simon explains live from the newsroom exactly what the frustration's over. Matthew?
Hey, good evening, Dave and Laura. The governor's administration says delaying the project's start date will make the state more money, but TransCanada says it will not. Today, some lawmakers became frustrated when their own experts pushed them to ask both sides what a delay would really mean.
I have a hard time accepting any of this at this point.
Some lawmakers may not have liked what former state tax director Dan Dickinson had to say about a pipeline project start date. Just one reaction to his day-long assessment of giving TransCanada the governor's proposed AGIA benefits.
So the notion is, if you vote for a license, is there a huge downside to that? And at least in the analysis that I'm going to present here, I certainly didn't see any.
Dickinson says there's nothing wrong with lawmakers voting to give TransCanada benefits like $500 million and payment for damages if the project fails.
I think you should go through and look at the questions. I don't want to confuse that with voting for this license basically is going to create a whole new era.
But Dickinson is urging lawmakers to ask tough questions. He says the administration and TransCanada's proposal leaves unanswered questions.
Well, let's quickly run through the numbers.
Particularly for an exact date when producers will sell their gas, and how much money the pipeline will actually produce.
One of the problems that I have with this slide, and I think it's a question that you need to ask when you see it, is how were costs treated?
Dickinson says the state's experts say TransCanada's plan will make twice as much money as TransCanada's numbers actually show. Inevitably, he says it's crucial for lawmakers to understand awarding AGIA benefits does not mean TransCanada will have to build a pipeline.
Someone who is naive in listening to that might think that there were enforceable commitments to build a pipeline in AGIA, and I think we know there are not.
And that is what is key for so many lawmakers, a number of them asking, should they give TransCanada all these benefits when company officials are only required to seek federal approval for their plan? At least administration officials answered that question. This is the best way to move the project forward because they say it shows the state also has a stake in this game. Dave.
Matthew, let's talk about the administration for a second. I know that their testimony is scheduled to start tomorrow. Have you heard what they might tell lawmakers?
Well, Dave, what we're likely to hear a lot about tomorrow is the same information we heard last week at Governor Palin's AGIA Forum, but I'm told they also are preparing right now presentations to respond to a lot of the questions we've been hearing today.
That is CBS 11's Matthew Simon reporting live from the newsroom tonight.